No, there is none.
Our Qualcomm,
Gives her 45 minutes.
we can adjust it, and this is what I wanted to ask you too. Each company that has the policy, like we allow personal conveyance, we have to readjust coming from your residence back to work, because we messed up on that one. But should there be something that the driver has? Like in the policy book that I tell them to keep in the truck, that Pleasant does have a personal conveyance policy for, you know,
You can have that in the
something
truck.
so they could, if they get
They
pulled
can have
over.
that, and you're gonna give them this, okay? You're gonna, everybody's gonna, we're gonna send you a copy of this.
Okay.
And everybody's gonna get a copy of this and put them in the truck, in your truck. I'm
I'll
not
eliminate
asking you
it.
to get into a verbal dialogue that's gonna get heated with the compliance officer.
Yeah.
Listen, just so you understand this, we went live with a enforcement on the ELD product, which you don't have yet. You're still working off the old system, but you
Right.
will have it come December?
December.
Okay. Just so everybody understands this part, there's a lot of compliance officers. Now, we know they got a tough job. Every single one of them got a tough job. The minute they put that badge on and they strap on their firearm, they are protect and serve, okay? Forget about what's going on in the media today. They got a job to do out in the street. I respect every single one of them. However, some of them are a little confused on this ELD and the onboard recording devices that are in vehicles. They're just not versed in it yet. Some of them understand it, some of them don't. So the more literature that you can provide to them, and the more professional you are with them, they will be with you. But believe me, the last thing they want to do is to get into an ELD device or electronic onboard recorder, and they don't understand it. So you better have the information to show it to them, which you have, and explain it to them, and show them that, so they can give them your last 7, so that you have it there, and any documentation that Marcia just talked about what our rule is pertaining to personal conveyance, along with what we're going to provide you. Because it says it right there, okay? Came out May 31st. And we want to make sure nobody gets in trouble. All right? So we're on to
I'm gonna
Renton.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip 5.
Yeah, we're going to go to, let's go to codes. We're going to go to 6, transporting, no,
Yeah, we're gonna go.
go to 7.
Yeah, go to 7. Authorized use of a commercial motor vehicle to travel home after work at an off-site location. You know, basically, everybody knows what that is. Like I just said, leaving out from the terminal, heading out to your house. And Marcy, you were asking about a time limit. Now, that is up to you. An owner-operator is a little bit different. He's using his fuel
Right.
and everything else. But on the company driver's side, yeah, you don't want them on the weekends to be driving all over the place in your truck. 'Cause who pays that fuel?
Right.
You
I
do.
still don't want them doing that either.
But
Oh,
we're
yeah,
okay
well, yeah.
with,
So-
hey, guess what?
Yes.
Take your truck and you can go home. Even if I have, in Zanesville, you live 40 minutes away, because you're leaving out of there Sunday night.
You're
Right.
going
So
out.
they're okay going home.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not okay if they would come back.
Come back.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Now,
that's,
does it have to be your terminal and then home, or it could be customer, you're all done home?
It could be customer to
Yeah,
home.
once you're done.
Okay.
that's a good question.
So I can drive 6 hours after my last customer to go home.
That's correct.
As long as you're not on the
That's correct. As long as you're not under
That's all I
dispatch,
need to hear.
as long as you're not under dispatch,
See, bye.
I was on a conference. I was on a conference call about 2 months ago with the head of state police and in compliance with Indiana, and that was one of my questions. This is way before this came out about the PC, and I asked about time limit and mileage limit, and they said there is none.
But,
Now the company can restrict it.
well, but if I said we have no limit, you still can't have a driver who is in Fairmont, West Virginia, and he's going to go home to Zanesville after his 70's up. He's worked all week, because you're still driving.
You're still driving.
You're still, the
This-
fatigue's
Yeah.
still there. There has to be,
the auto liability coverage, okay, put your question marks around that, all right, the actual quotations around it, is because you're really out of time now.
Right.
In theory, you're out of time.
So if you're in an
But
accident.
if you're in an accident,
That's
I
right.
mean, you're going to be liable, the company's going to be liable, the DOT number that's associated with the truck's going to be liable for the crash. So you have to be really smart about what you're, to your
So
point.
basically,
To your
you
point.
can do 3 hours of personal conveyance as long as there's 4 on your 70.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a smart way.
Which is a smart way to do it. And
Yeah,
listen,
absolutely is.
would you want anybody to do that? I mean, listen, you
Yeah,
have to
never go
look
over
at it,
70.
like Hugo's saying, you have to, because he was on there with a couple of months ago with them. We got to be smart about this because, you know, we're out there amongst the motoring public. The last thing I want is my family out there, somebody's over his 70 and he's trying to get home and it's 6 hours away. Now he's 76 hours. He's got too many hours in the week and he's involved in a crash. We don't want that. So, I mean, they're trying to make it a little easier. Like I was telling your folks yesterday, the owners of your organization, that, you know, you got a great head of FMCSA. He's a smart guy. His name is Ray Martinez. He gets it. He understands it. He wants to see the changes. The president wants the things to be changed right. He's got a good communications with Christopher Spears from ATA. They're online. You got a great Secretary of Transportation. She gets it. So things are changing quickly. But, you know, this thing here, personal conveyance, was a little gray little box that was hidden inside the regs underneath 395. Now look at it. Because they had to do something because people were driving all over delivering loads and thinking they could do that. And they were getting away with it for years. And just like Hugo said, well, I didn't use personal conveyance either did I. I didn't use that on my paper logbook. But now nobody did. But now look at this thing. So they defined it. We asked for it. They defined it.
Yeah, but you also could drive 2 hours, sleep 2 hours, drive 2 hours, sleep 2 hours.
Well,
A
now,
lot of
now-
things have changed.
now, a lot of things have changed
Well,
now.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You used to be able to do.
Let me stop you there. There is a pilot program going on, so we know that for the guys who run the sleeper berths, that the 8 and 2 does nothing for anybody. You know, that's my personal opinion. If anybody can question on me, go right ahead. But they're testing a 5 and 5. They're testing a 6 and 4, and they're testing something else. Now, a 5 and 5 and a 6 and 4, okay, to get that break in. Now, years ago, we both did the 4 and 4. We would run all the way to the coast. 4 up, 4 down, 4 up, 4 down, all the way across, okay?
And I used to run from Pittsburgh
Right.
to the city.
So they're testing it now to a pilot program. I can't tell you who the carriers are involved in it, but they're testing it. So, and at the end of the test, they'll collect the data, and if they think it makes sense, they'll increase that into the regulations under the sleeper berth and do away with the 8 and 2.
Well, that'd be great.
Then wouldn't that'd be nice,
Yes,
right?
not
What-
everybody's
has-
They are
have
doing-
made
they
any
are gonna
progress
do
with
away
that?
with a half
I heard
hour
about a 3-hour
It's still
break
it's in
that
Congress
doesn't go
right now.
against your 14, like delayed at a shipper or
It's the old
receiver.
saying, it's the act of Congress.
Well, no, they haven't done that, but they're looking at they haven't done that. They're looking at that because they know that's a problem. They're looking at the 30-minute break, which is a cumbersome rule. They realize that the 30-minute break does nothing for nobody. Because you sit somewhere all day long, maybe more than 30-minute break. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to be within the first hour, 8 hours, but they realize the 30-minute break is cumbersome. I can tell you, and I told your owners of your organization yesterday, it's in Congress. Somebody needs to finally put the bill and ring it and make the vote and pass it. But it's in there. It's right at the top of the table. Hopefully it goes away. It's a very, very, very cumbersome rule that's no good. It needs to go. So hopefully we can get that done before 2019 starts. You know what? The hours of service, it's really, really, really come a long way since they started messing with this in 2003. It's 2018. You have a lot of drivers in this industry that are seasoned drivers that are getting out. A lot of my friends are getting out and they're basically saying, I can't take this no more. I mean, because the regulations are getting stricter. They're putting more regulations on the medical. they're trying to they realize that, we're running out of drivers, okay, because we're short. Now they're trying to come up with a good, solid identification for the fact that if somebody's on insulin, that we can keep that good seasoned driver. It's not his fault that the pills are not working anymore. Now he has to go to the actual shot. So if the individual is an insulin dependent and he is on a regular regimen and seeing his doctor, then why should he be disqualified of making a living because he can no longer take the pill? If he's under medical and he's being watched and he's being monitored, just like the folks under the sleep apnea, okay, it's not regulated yet. Not regulated yet. However, but if you are tested for it and you have to have the CPAP, then you got to wear it and you got to be monitored. So why would we want to disqualify all these professional drivers that have their career for years and years and years just because the actual pill doesn't work? Makes sense, right? So they're looking at things that why would we want to put these people in the street and have unemployment when the individual has at least 10 more years of driving left or is more of his career to be disqualified because he's got, and that has to go to a shot. So there's things that are in place that they know they have to put in there. They're changing it so that possibly we can put an 18-year-old driver into a truck and let him run interstate once he gets into a little bit of an apprenticeship, so that by the time he gets to 21, that he can run interstate. Because let's face it, what do we talk about? 865 across Texas?
Yep.
Right? We both have run that, and it's like you're never going to get there. But an individual intrastate driver at 18 can run 865 miles. But yet he can't tiptoe into New Mexico.
New Mexico. Or from PA, from New Jersey into Philadelphia.
So,
Which is
there is
11 miles at the most.
there's
You're
pilot
working-
programs
So there's things going on,
that are
change.
going on to change the industry because we're very, 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 very short in drivers, and because nobody wants to take it up. I mean,
parking.
what's that?
Short on
park-
drivers, short on
short on
parking.
parking.
My brother's not here because I think he's buying fields up all along interstates and he'll
He's
find
putting
all the
signs up.
parking.
Yep. $15.
And if you get stuck, he'll tow you out with his quad.
If you remember when they first started coming out, to bring it back to the point where we're looking at the 18 to 21s. If you remember years ago, they were talking, hey, we're going to be short 250,000 drivers in 10 years. Well, guess what? Those 10 years are creeping up. Right now, we're at 195,000 drivers short. In 2 years, we will be 250,000 drivers short. So when they first talking about this 8 years ago, it really creeped up. Nobody thought this will ever happen. It's happening. And it's happening
Well,
now.
that's because our industry has become a 3-day shelf industry.
Well, it's not only that. I look at it years ago when I grew up. College wasn't there for me. Parents couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. So what did I do? I went in and driving a truck. And that's what I did. That's where I was able to make the money. Today, college is readily available. You got computer techs. Everybody wants to go into the computer industry because that's where the money is. Nobody's coming in to the driving industry or transportation. And if they are, they're going into transportation management. But most of your college students are either going into business or some type of a computer industry. So the drivers coming into the trucking industry are few and far between.
And diesel mechanics.
Yeah,
We're short diesel
Diesel
mechanics.
mechanics are
There
short.
is none.
There is none.
There is.
Nobody wants to take it up.
Yeah, nobody
Diesel,
wants to-
nobody wants to get
Except,
dirty.
except the boys that are just getting out of school that want $28 an hour.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
9 to 5.
9 to 5. Yeah, they gotta be 9 to 5.
I have one more question for that, Sam. I mean, you guys said the personal commands. Of course, you want to be smart about it, not
Right.
run home after you do your 70. But if you took a 10-hour, 10-hour break, it'd be okay to do that, right? As long as you're smart.
Yep.
Gotta be smart about it. Just
Go
gotta
ahead.
be very smart about
and
it.
And I'm
wanna
going to
clarify
go
that
back to
because-
the accident in New Jersey 2 years ago with Tracy Morgan.
Yeah,
The
I-
driver from Walmart drove from Georgia to Smyrna, Delaware. in his car. I'm assuming it was a car. I don't think he was driving a
Well,
truck.
yeah, it was
It
personal
was his
car.
personal car. He jumped in the truck and started driving.
You're still driving.
He was still driving. He was up that whole time driving, and he got in his truck and drove. What do you got? 2.5 hours away from Smyrna, and got in the accident because he fell asleep.
Because,
He was
wasn't the
tired.
story that he
Be
was on
smart.
vacation and had to get back to get to work?
No, he lived in Georgia. He lived in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
He lived
Yeah,
in Georgia.
he
He
lived
left
in
Georgia
Georgia,
and
he
drove to
lived in-
I thought
Smyrna.
he was on vacation.
No, he lived in Georgia. He drove up
He
there.
drove
That
up.
That was the terminal manager's fault too on that.
That's
Let him
right.
bring the
Everybody's
truck.
going on that.
However, see Walmart, however, when he got in the truck, okay, you gotta remember now, it's just like when you guys take your 10-hour break, Pleasant doesn't know what you're doing in 10 hours.
You're right.
You could be building a house. You could be doing anything you wanna be doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, as far as Pleasant knows, you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Now, we know that. It's the same thing with the individual that Hugo's talking about. As far as Walmart knows,
He's got 70
you got
hours
70
left.
hours. However, that's not the case.
And in the
they had some
regs,
great attorneys.
and in the regs, when it talks about a 10-hour break and being ready and able to go on duty after having adequate rest, you have to be ready and able to go on duty.
It's fit for duty.
You have to
Yeah.
be fit for duty.
Everybody's different. Like, some people sleep 6 hours and go.
Right,
you know,
but you,
18
but you
hours,
can't stay
fly
up
away.
24
Yeah.
hours and then,
Yeah,
hey,
it
I already
all
took a
depends.
10-hour break
Right.
and now I'm ready to go.
Probably the
Right.
best
You're
way
not.
to look at it is if you're to that point and you want to use your personal conveyance, you should sit back and think why it's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
To do away with driver
Listen,
fatigue. If I do this,
this
it's just putting
reason-
someone's life in jeopardy.
Yeah, this whole right here, the body of this right here is basically what it was utilized for and what it should be used for. I mean, they're giving you an opportunity to utilize it. They want you to utilize it smart. They realize that you're stuck. They realize you need to get somewhere. They realize you need a shower, something to eat. I mean, come on. I mean, this is why, we have things in place. We're professional drivers that sit all day behind a wheel. So they realized that, but they realized also too that the little blurb that it was like that had to expand. Let me tell you, this wasn't an easy thing. There was like 100 people sitting around the table trying to make this thing up. And there was ideas going back and forth. They wanted to, I'm not even going to tell you what, there's a couple things were in there.
I know one thing they wanted to, if you went on PC,
You don't know that.
you had to take a 10-hour consecutive break off before you started driving again. That was one of the reasons that they wanted to do that.
Yep.
All right, we're moving on here.
All right, this is what doesn't qualify. Movement of a commercial motor vehicle in order to enhance the operational readiness of a motor carrier. Example, bypassing available rest locations in order to get closer to your next load. That's advancing your dispatch or advancing your load. After delivering a tow unit, all right, tow unit no longer meets the definition of a commercial motor vehicle. The driver returns to a point of origin under the direction of a motor carrier to pick up another tow unit. So in other words, bobtailing. You drop off, let's just say, give you 2 cities. You leave out of Philadelphia. You drop a trailer, you got to pick up one in Camden. You can't use that as PC, even though you're bobtailing, because you're on the directions, you're dropping one and going to another location to pick up another one. So that cannot be used as PC. Continuation of a trip in interstate commerce in order to fulfill a business purpose, including bobtailing again, or operating an empty trailer in order to retrieve another load. That's basically what I came up with, what they said earlier. They just, defined it a little more. Repositioning a tractor or trailer at a direction of a motor carrier. So you can't even reposition a tractor or a trailer. So if you're on duty, you're on duty. You can't use it as PC. So they give you a lot more definitions of what you can do and then what you cannot do. That does not qualify. So we'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this. It's pretty simple and defined in there. So I would always keep it. If you're not sure, read it. If you're still not sure, make a phone call. No.
I will laminate that and our company policy on personal conveyance. And we'll put it in your binders in your truck.
Yep.
That way.
That way you have it.
All right, we'll take a little break, because then we're gonna go into the hazmat. Is that okay? All right.
So the drivers that